Joining me now is Oliver Bullough. He's author of The Last Man in Russia. He recently wrote a telling article in the New Republic explaining why Britain's timid response to Putin may all come down to the cold, hard cash. Oliver, thanks so much for joining us. Explain for us how Russia has gained so much influence in the UK over the past few years.
Well, what you've got to know about Britain, and particularly London, though we like to present an image that it's all about Tower Bridge and Princess Kate and Downton Abbey, but essentially we're open for business. Business is what we do, and that's what we're here for. And if you can afford the entrance fee, then we're up for it. And so in 1991, when the Soviet Union fell apart and Russia started to privatize fast, a small number of well-connected Russians got extremely wealthy, and some Brits realized there was an opportunity here, and that we could start selling off chunks of our capital, we could start selling off what we do best, we could sell our cars, we could sell our hotels, we could sell our football clubs even. Ali Shah Usmanov, who you mentioned, owns one of Arsenal, one of the leading football clubs in the UK. And they like it here. We like their money. So, yeah, we've come to a mutual arrangement.
And you say this relationship goes way beyond the financial sector. It impacts real estate, schools. Tell us about the potential ripple effect if Prime Minister Cameron were to get tough with Russia. What would happen? Well,
I mean, obviously, schools, the rich Russians really, really do like to send their children to private school in England. The schools like Eton, where Princes William and Harry studied, or lesser schools are, they're sort of the gold standard for among oligarchs. So yeah, there's sort of 2,000 plus Russian children at boarding school in England at the moment, far more at private day schools, and a far greater number at universities. So I mean, that's $100 million alone in school fees, which if Cameron were to get tough, those schools would have to forego. That's a tough sell to a natural Conservative constituency. Again, estate agents, you mentioned 5% of the prime London property market, 3% of the London new build market. It's an awful lot of money. And again, that's some estate agents who are going to have to postpone buying a new car. And that is a tough sell for the Prime Minister in a city that is, as I said, open for business. But actually, this isn't just about rich people. This is a story that goes much further than that. What? BP, a company that maybe in America is best known for the Gulf oil spill. 1 in 4 barrels of oil that BP pumps comes out of Russia. And BP makes up about 5% of the average British person's pension fund. So, if Britain imposes sanctions on Russia, then BP takes a hit. And that means everyone in this country takes a hit. This is a serious question that is being asked of us. The difference in a way between America and Britain, or wider with Europe, is that our economic ties since 91 with Russia have got very, very close indeed. And this does make it difficult for our governments to make any kind of independent judgment on a question like this.
And we should point out, of course, that some, not all, but some of these Russian elites who are part of this London system you're talking about, they didn't exactly make their money on the up and up. Do you think journalists such as yourself who've been following the money have only scratched the surface on how dependent aspects of the British economy are on Russia's plutocracy, kleptocracy, including criminals?
Oh, absolutely. There's no question of that. There is an institution in Britain called the Limited Liability Partnership. It is a vehicle perfectly designed for the criminal. You cannot investigate the ownership of it. You cannot investigate the accounts. The Yanukovych, the deposed president of Ukraine, it has been revealed almost all of his most corrupt deals were done via LLPs in the UK. That has only now come up after he's been deposed. Naturally, when he was in power, our police had no interest in investigating that at all. I have no doubt, in fact, no one who looks into this has any doubt, that the elite in Moscow, Putin's friends, they all have LLPs here and they route their money via London. And you know what? If the money is a bit dirty for London, that's not a problem. We can deal with that. We have tax havens. We have Guernsey, we have Jersey, they're pretty respectable. We have the Isle of Man, it's a bit less respectable. If even that's too respectable for you, we have Bermuda, we have the British Virgin Islands, we have the Cayman Islands. We have a range of tax havens for any customer, from the most dirty to the most discerning. So, no, London, as I say, we like money. It's tough. And that does make it very difficult for our government to make any kind of independent judgment.
Fascinating.